Operation Grand Heist ends on April 30th, or that's when it rolls over into Operation 4. And in those 24 days and a few hours and change depending on when you watch this, there's still about 12 to 15 items depending on what you count as necessarily content that is yet to come within Black Ops 4. We've already touched on the majority of these things and discussed them in depth, but we haven't discussed when they may be coming. And as such, I kind of wanted to revisit the topic and expand on it a little bit further so as to give you some educated predictions and have some fun rounding into the weekend on when we can maybe expect to see these items coming over the course of the next 24 days or so. So let's take a fun little look here at what's up on deck and when to maybe expect it. And if you want to stay up to date with all these sort of releases and all updates for Black Ops 4, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button, because strange fun fact, 65% of viewers actually aren't subscribed. So if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get daily Black Ops 4 content. But I digress, let's get right into it. Let's start out with some of the things that are absolutely confirmed that have been detailed by Treyarch employees, or the official Call of Duty accounts in some capacity. The first one that we'll talk about is actually the earliest of these items up on deck, that being the brand new Crash uniform. This one being entitled The Getaway, the one that we've mentioned for a many number of times here on the channel already. It's been seen in the promo art and all things considered since the very beginning of Grand Heist, the Tom Selleck Magnum PI look-alike skin for Crash, rounding out what seems to be the skins for the cops and robbers type of theme of Operation Grand Heist. That's going to be something that is coming on April 8th, or Monday as of the special order refresh. That's been 100% confirmed by the Call of Duty Instagram account. They put up the incoming intel that they normally do, and that was the next special order up on deck. Following just after Monday, April 8th, we'll end up seeing a couple of introductions in the way of new game modes across the board, or new additions in some capacity. First things first, Infected is going to be coming as of this upcoming Tuesday, April 9th for MP. That's officially been confirmed once again by a Reddit post talking about this in a couple of different areas, but it was first mentioned as of the update for Alcatraz and everything that went live on Tuesday. That Reddit thread detailing everything mentioned that Infected was the next game mode up on deck and would be coming as of this upcoming Tuesday. So bear that in mind and keep an eye out if you're looking to play Infected within Black Ops 4, and that's something that I'm certainly going to be jumping in on that. Additionally, on Tuesday, we'll end up seeing that League Play will end up getting new ranks, or additional ranks at that. So that means that the climb to Master Division is almost here for those that may play it, and this should seemingly provide a little bit more longevity to the players that are grinding out League Play on a daily basis. I know that personally, I haven't really played all that much. You guys may be in a completely different boat, but for those of you guys that are still grinding it out, there are additional ranks coming for that grind to master. The final thing to round out the things that we definitively know about in terms of playlist updates and content alike is Ambush 2.0, but there's a little bit of an asterisk here on this one, because Ambush 2.0 is going to be a revisitation and slight adjustment to the previous Ambush game mode that we ended up seeing in Blackout a couple of weeks back now at this point, but it is something that David Vonderhaar said in the most recent developer update, that April 9th, or this Tuesday, is the target time they're trying to roll this out, but it is subject to change. They're not going to lock that in as of the 9th, so I'd say maybe about a 75% chance that it happens on the 9th. But what differs here with this one is that ATVs and ARAVs are not going to be an ambush at all. The other vehicles will be like your cargo trucks, your hot rods presumably, and also the SUVs. But those ones you didn't really see in the final zone all that much because, well, you just ran out of space. The ATV was agile, quick, you could run somebody over and still get right back into the action, or circle around somebody in the final circle of that. But the other things changed with this are the collapse speed is going to be changed and lowered. The SDM was actually removed here for this next upcoming build of Ambush. Cluster grenades and concussion grenades are also removed, and shotguns were added in for additional CQC, or close quarters combat play. So the Bowie knife isn't going to be your only close quarters thing you're going to have to worry about, which kind of curious to see how this plays out. I don't know if anybody really asked for shotguns whenever Ambush was still around. I know that ATVs were an issue, but I don't know if anybody asked, hey, put in shotguns for that. So we'll see how that plays out. But the 4x scope, also rounding out the things that changed here within this, is going to have an increased drop rate. So we may very well see that come on Tuesday, but again, not necessarily confirmed. As for the other things that are out there, but we don't have any definitive date here for this, this is where we start to get into theory and educated guessing. So take all of this from here on out with a grain of salt, because it's simply just speculation. While we're on the topic of playlist updates and game mode changes, let's talk about two of the other game modes we know about in particular for MP. Deathmatch Domination is what I would imagine to be up next, because we've heard the most of that. It's going to be a combination of TDM with Domination. So you have that objective score of what they, I think, mentioned was 400, 100, but you end up getting points for not only capturing the flag and having that position held, but also you end up getting points for each kill as the game progresses. So with how many kills are traded back and forth between each team, I'd imagine that it's still right around that 10-minute mark in terms of length, but it's going to be an interesting dynamic and one that, of course, is going to be nice to play for the win, even if you don't like to play the objective. So it'll be cool to see that, but they mentioned that was something that was going to be up on deck after Infected, so my guess is maybe April 16th here for this. And I say that because we still have to fit in one more game mode before the operation ends, or if it's not delayed or taken off the roadmap, because at the very beginning of Operation Grand Heist, we got that roadmap, which detailed Prop Hunt would as well be coming to Black Ops 4 throughout Grand Heist. So with that, we know of Infected and Deathmatch Domination already being talked about for the foreseeable future, but if one more is still out there, the next date after that for a playlist update would be April 23rd, the final week of Operation Grand Heist, given that maybe we end up seeing them sequentially of, say, Infected, Deathmatch Domination, followed by Prop Hunt, leading into what is next in Operation 4. So that's something to consider as well, that April 16th and 23rd may be the introduction of Deathmatch Domination as well as Prop Hunt. After what's already been confirmed as that brand new Crash uniform on the 8th coming, we have one more special order presumably up on deck. This one, though, might be a little curious because I don't think the dates are going to match up exactly as to how we either see them being with previous special orders, or it's going to wrap over and extend over into Operation 4. But after this, if we follow the 12-day period that these special orders have been on, April 8th is when that next one of the Crash uniforms introduced. But after that, it'll be April 20th, or so we think will be April 20th, in which we're probably going to get Misty, the final character that we haven't seen just yet out of all the promotional artwork, all the promotional imagery, and so on and so forth. And plus, the game files for Misty are right there in the current update and in the game at the moment. So much so that, again, as we mentioned, she's actually been in the game since the very launch of Grand Heist and was even there in the character menu selection. It's just a matter of when she goes live. And with the PC update of 1.16, it now shows that the update that is currently in the game right now does have all the files necessary for that special order bundle, in which we end up seeing a calling card, a tag, as well as an emblem included in that, maybe one thing thrown in the mix as well. But I'd imagine that she comes on the 20th. But like I said, the dates might not match up entirely. Either one, it's cut short and there's only 10 days here on this, in which a new special order is introduced with Operation 4, or the second option is that maybe Misty rolls over into Operation 4 for an extra day and a half or so until a new special order is introduced. Could be either of those two, but definitely something to consider. Talking a little further about customization and items earned, we've mentioned this quite a few times here on the channel since, well, the first initial theories of it, and a couple have been wrong in that span since. And so with this one, I don't necessarily know if I want to put all my chips into play here on this one, but I want to talk to you guys about the Mini 14 or the Vendetta Sniper with that mini contraband stream that should be coming, or that we thought should have already have came at this point. A few things to note here before we jump into talking about the date is that the Mini 14 or the Vendetta Sniper Rifle should be coming here with this. We talked about that it's already in the game files, the video for it and everything like that. With it being pushed back so much or so much further than we thought initially, it's easy to assume that maybe it's just the next weapon in the next operation. Except that's not the case, because it's actually been showcased in this Grand Heist promotional artwork, in the trailers, and so on and so forth. So it seems definitively locked here to this, but we're running out of time. And the other thing to consider is that there has to be more days than tiers so that players can simply earn these items organically, because it's a ranged weapon and can be a lot more practical and actually worthwhile compared to a melee weapon reskin. So if there is 20 tiers in a stream comparable to last one, this upcoming Tuesday is the only option that has more days than tiers, as this upcoming Tuesday will be 21 days left until the next operation launch on the 30th. If they wait and hold it, I don't think the week after would introduce a tier list of 14 items, being that there would be 14 days. It just seems too much of a specific number. We've seen 15 to 20 items, but not 14. And again, I just don't see them introducing more tiers than days left, so that players can utilize their tier skips and get the content organically, and also with minimal playtime when you consider how you can get those tier skips. Also, if I'm not mistaken, I think the PC update actually introduced into play some new face paints that may be a part of that stream as well, so more things are coming together as what may be introduced with this. That said, that's pure and total speculation. I'm keeping an eye out for this upcoming Tuesday of the 9th, but I'm not putting all my chips in again. Other MP content still to come is that of Arsenal Sandstorm. Again, we've talked about this. It's in the game files and all things considered. And in terms of dates, I'd say that the 9th or this Tuesday is the absolute earliest we could see it, but I'm assuming the 16th is probably a safer bet. It's a 2-week window before the next operation, Tides players over, and then that will lead into Operation 4's 3 Black Ops Pass match that are dropping. And also, Treyarch mentioned while discussing the prospect of Infected being added in on this upcoming Tuesday's playlist refresh that Arsenal Sandstorm would be coming after that, in that wording. So to me, I don't necessarily see them tethered together for the same release window, and as well, if they're not, it keeps the content rolling consistently until we end up seeing the new operation kick in on the 30th and not a front load of everything all up front. We saw that happen a little bit with Absolute Zero, and we saw the last 2 to 3 weeks of that operation get almost nearly no updates or refreshes outside of a playlist refresh once in a while, and even the shop were repeats at that point. So we didn't get all that much new content, so it seems like maybe this is trying to combat that if it follows this predicted release pattern. Final thing in terms of content that is actually playable and not something that you necessarily have to pay for that we'll talk about in this video that is brand new is the Dead of the Night Gauntlet. This was something that we found in the game files quite some time ago now at this point, but it was actually also confirmed by Treyarch as of yesterday. They ended up saying that Dead of the Night would be the next Gauntlet up on deck, but there is no ETA here for this given by Treyarch. But again, following the same sort of situation, I would expect it to be relatively in line with our prediction with Arsenal Sandstorm, either the 9th or the 16th. It could happen as of this Tuesday, or it could happen on the 16th. It just comes down to when Treyarch and Activision feel like rolling things out. It's very possible we end up seeing it as of Tuesday because we usually see these released in 3-week intervals, and I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting another Gauntlet or another thing for zombies in terms of a sort of new mode as of Operation 4's launch, and that would be 3 weeks away as of Tuesday. But in keeping also with a similar fashion that you don't want to release everything too top-heavy and then have a dry spell going into the next operation, it's very possible the 16th could be a date to contend as well. Outside of that, new content in the way of Reserve Crate bundles and First Strike bundles were also seen in the recent game files for Update 1.16 on PC, but those I think could really just be coming at any time. It seems like those could fill out the rest of the weekly bundles it seems like we're getting. We ended up seeing this last week. We had the 20-tier bundle for 50% off. Then we ended up having before that the triple play with the Demo Hammer or Home Wrecker as it's called. Then we ended up seeing the week before that the Replacer bundle. Then before that we ended up having Shamrock and Awe. So it seems like we're having weekly basis bundles to which maybe we see some sort of deal on reserve crates or maybe even those First Strike items introduced again in terms of the bundles. But outside of that, that's all the new stuff that we can maybe anticipate in the dates along with it. But things to consider also is that I would definitely expect things like Hot Pursuit, Hardcore, Blackout, and Bare Bones to return at least one more time during Operation Grand Heist, and maybe even some of them stay as a sort of staple. Bare Bones I can totally imagine going through the rest of the year as a limited time mode in some capacity. Hot Pursuit being that it was the Grand Heist sort of shtick, I don't know if it's going to be something that goes out of that, but I'd expect that to return this week or next. Same thing goes for Hardcore Blackout to round out this content schedule so that players can get one more fill of that before Grand Heist ends. But ultimately, there's a lot to look forward to in terms of the next upcoming weeks, but wanted to give you guys a little bit of piece of my brain here and when I think things will be happening. So again, the majority of this is all educated guesses, so your guess honestly is as good as mine, but wanted to share my thoughts. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is there anything in particular you're thinking may be a different date of release, anything that may leapfrog and come before something else? Whatever it may be, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And what are you looking forward to the most out of these items? Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, MP, Blackout, Zombies. We got you covered the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. And if you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, there's the best place to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to straight up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. Well, that's it now. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.